W8VPV. Repeater. W8VPV. Repeater. PL110.9.
Power supply, but the amplifier, you're turning that off and letting it sit there, and then you turn it back on and it acts up for a while and shuts itself off. It never turns itself back on though, does it, Ed?
Well, sometimes it'll work all right, but if you turn the power supply
communications gets tested above 100 gigahertz. And there's a new challenge facing the recovery of the wireless from the Titanic's wreckage. All this and more as Amateur Radio Newsline Report number 2394 comes your way right now. From around the world, this is Newsline, Amateur Radio's first independent on-the-air news and bulletin service. Now reporting from Charleston, West Virginia, here's Jim Damron, NATMW. We begin this week with two developing stories. The aftermath of a 6.8 magnitude earthquake in Morocco on September 8th, and deadly massive flooding in northeast Libya. According to reports from Region 1 of the International Amateur Radio Union, there was no apparent organized amateur radio deployment in Morocco, where the quake death toll was reported to be in the thousands. The IARU continues to monitor the situation. Meanwhile, ham deployments were considered less likely in Libya, where floods from a storm left more than 5,200 dead. According to the IARU website, Libya does not have an active member amateur society. Newsline will update these stories as circumstances warrant. Despite their potential for use in communications, radio frequencies in the terahertz and sub-terahertz ranges, that is, those above 100 gigahertz, are considered underutilized. The United States Air Force is about to share its plans for a radio they are hoping could change all that. Kent Peterson, KC0DGY, tells us about it.
A project in the works in the U.S. Air Force Research Laboratory is exploring the potential that radio frequencies above 100 gigahertz have for secure wideband communications. The military is looking to develop an ultra-broadband radio that can adjust output power, data rate, and even carrier frequency, and are hoping to find defense contractors in the industry who can assist with the project. Although frequencies in those ranges, which can be used for 6G communications, have a high level of atmospheric absorption that can restrict how far the transmissions travel, the military is hoping to capitalize on the frequency's abilities to accommodate secure channels. The Air Force is hosting an informational day for the industry next month, and will be looking for defense contractors who are owned by U.S. citizens to get on board with the project. Early experiments have already proven successful, according to a report on the Inside Towers website. Last December, communication was achieved at frequencies higher than 300 gigahertz during flight experiments by the Air Force, which has been exploring these options for almost a decade. This is Kent Peterson, KC0DGY.
In the latest chapter surrounding controversial salvage operations at the wreckage of the Titanic, the U.S. government is challenging a company's plans to recover the doomed ocean liner's wireless telegraph.
The planned recovery of the Marconi wireless telegraph from the wreckage of the doomed luxury liner Titanic are being blocked by the United States government, citing federal law and an agreement with Great Britain that the ship should be treated as a gravesite. The salvage company RMS Titanic Incorporated, based in Georgia, had announced its plan to visit the wreck site next May to recover items, including the radio and telegraph used to send the distress call in 1912. Attorneys for the U.S. government claim the expedition would violate a pact with Great Britain that classifies the wreckage as a memorial. The government also maintains that the salvage ship would violate protections that the U.S. Congress granted the Titanic site. The RMS Titanic Company has particular interest in the Marconi room, where messages in Morse code were transmitted, signaling that the ship was damaged after striking an iceberg in the North Atlantic while en route to New York from Southampton, England. RMST, which had been granted the salvage rights earlier by the court, told the Associated Press recently, quote, "The company will continue its work respectfully preserving the memory and legacy of Titanic, her passengers, and the crew for future generations," end quote. The company plans to put the radio in an exhibit that tells the story of the lost liner. In May 2020, the court gave RMST permission to recover the radio because of its historical significance, but the U.S. government challenged the plans for the expedition that year. The expedition was called off. This is Jack Parker, W8ISH.
There's new access on the 8-meter band for amateurs in Belgium. Jeremy Booth, G4NJH, tells us more.
Hams in Belgium have been given privileges on the 40 megahertz band. joining radio operators in South Africa, Slovenia and Ireland with 8-meter access. The Belgian regulator informed the UBA, the Royal Belgian Amateur Radio Union, that hams with an A-class operating certificate, the Herrick license, the grant of the use of frequencies between 40.660 and 40.690 on a secondary basis. Operators' power is limited to 5 watts ERP and operating bandwidth cannot exceed 3 kHz. Hams will also be required to keep a log of all transmissions and must submit it to the regulator at the end of the year. The UBA had petitioned the BIPT for some time to grant this limited portion of the band for amateurs' use, and following a period of consultation anticipated that the regulator would favour it. This is Jeremy Bucci for NJH.
A different kind of RF filter has been introduced by a defense company in Sweden to assist in military communications. Again, here's Jeremy Bucci for NJH.
It is being called the ultra-lightweight camouflaged screen frequency selected surface, and it introduces a new capability for soldiers' communications in the field. It's a filter that permits certain radio frequencies to pass through the mesh of a camouflage net protecting military vehicles. The surface, which is not yet in service, was introduced by the Swedish defense company Saab earlier this month. Saab says that until now, camouflage net's ability to reduce enemy sensors' detection of equipment has also prevented GPS signals and other communications passing through, jeopardizing soldiers who must then move out of camouflage cover to perform certain tasks. At times, that has even meant sticking antennas through the mesh in order to transmit or receive signals. Johan Jersblad, a Saab senior development engineer, told reporters that the surface functions as a low-pass filter, which allows transmitted or received signals to penetrate the camouflage screen, but retains the screen's ability to be undetected by higher frequency radar. The surface was on display for visitors at the DSEI Defence Exhibition held in London from the 4th to the 15th of September. This is Jeremy Bucci for NJH.
So what do 3 sons of William Penn, founder of the state of Pennsylvania in the United States, have to do with the special event station being activated in the town of Reading? Mark Abramovich, NT3V, has that story.
Well, history records William Penn as the man who established the American colony first known as Penn's Woods and later Pennsylvania. It was his sons, Thomas, Richard, and John, who laid out the first streets of the town of Reading, just north and west of Philadelphia. The city is celebrating its 275th birthday this year, thanks to the work of the Penn brothers. On Saturday, September 23rd, members of the Reading Radio Club will mark the occasion by activating the club's call sign, W3BN, as a special event station. Club members will put 3 HF stations on the air from the Reading area for a 12-hour period to commemorate the town's historic milestone. Reading's storied past includes the Reading Railroad, breweries, pretzel making, and the first factory outlets. It is also recognized as home to one of the nation's most successful minor league baseball teams, long associated with the Philadelphia Phillies. But Reading is best known for its pagoda, an actual reproduction of a Japanese structure which was built atop Mount Penn overlooking Reading in the early 1900s. The popular tourist attraction became a historic landmark and a symbol for the town. There's more about the Reading Radio Club's special event station and how you can get in on the fun at QRZ.com. Search for W3BN and check out the colorful certificate that will look great on the wall of your shack. In Reading, Pennsylvania, I'm Mark Abramovich, NT3V.
Time for you to identify your station. We are the Amateur Radio Newsline, heard on bulletin stations around the world, including the K2ADA repeater in Ocala, Florida, on Fridays and Saturdays at 7 p.m. The popular online instruction program Hand Test Online may not be going out of business after all. The creator and owner of the company, John W1AI, announced earlier this year he was planning to retire and would be shutting the website down unless a purchaser came forward to continue continue the license exam coursework that John had begun. He announced in his most recent newsletter that several organizations have since expressed an interest and that he would be negotiating with one of them soon. He said it was his hope that HamTest Online would be able to ultimately continue without interruption. A former director of the ARRL's Great Lakes Division has become a silent key. We hear about him from Stephen Kinford, N8WB.
A radio amateur with a long history as an ARRL club and Hamvention volunteer has become a silent key. Dave Coons, WT8W, died on the 2nd of September. Throughout his long association with the ARRL, he had served as vice director and director of the Great Lakes Division and was a volunteer examiner through the ARRL's VEC. Locally, Dave was a leader in the Ohio amateur radio community, serving as president, vice president, and secretary of the Dayton Amateur Radio Association through the years. At Dayton Hamvention, he was chairman of the Flea Market Committee and was on the Communications Committee. His volunteer spirit won him the Frank J. Kirkpatrick Memorial Award in 1993 from the Clark County Amateur Radio Association, where he was also a member. Dave was a veteran of the Korean War and served in the United States Navy. He was a retired postmaster of the Miamisburg, Ohio Post Office. Dave Coons was 92. This is Stephen Kinford, N8WB.
In India, amateur radio operators have helped a young mother locate her parents, ending 16 years of searching for one another. Jason Daniels, VK2LAW, brings us those details.
A 27-year-old woman in India who had been taken by a relative from her parents' home in West Bengal 16 years ago has ended her long search for her family with the help of local radio amateurs. The West Bengal Radio Club was contacted by authorities and was able to make the reunion happen. The woman had been living in Rajasthan with her husband and 3 children. According to a report by the Indo-Asian News Service, the husband told police he first encountered the woman as an 11-year-old girl alone and weeping at a railway station, asking where her parents had gone. A close relative had reportedly taken her from the home in the hopes of finding her a better life. The husband told police recently that he took the young girl to his own home, where he was living with his mother at the time, and tried without luck to trace her family. He told police that the girl remained in the home, but that she did not become his wife until much later, and that it was the wish of his dying mother that he marry her. The news report said that the woman confirmed the man's story to the police, saying that her husband had treated her well. The West Bengal Radio Club was able to make the necessary connections back in West Bengal after the authorities contacted them, providing photos and copies of an official government identity card. Ambarish Nagbiswas, VU2JFA, the club secretary, told Newsline in a text message that after the Hams located her family, mother and daughter were reunited on September 7th in a video call. He said that upon seeing one another, both began crying. This is Jason Daniels, VK2LAW.
Earlier this year, Newsline told listeners about a U.S. radio station on the West Coast that had begun using AI to replicate the voice of a popular DJ by using something called Radio GPT. A channel in Germany has just taken that technology a few steps further. Here's Andy Morrison, K9AWM, with those details.
Artificial intelligence is now responsible for full-time programming on Antenne Deutschland, which calls the format Absolute Radio AI. The DAB Plus multiplex channel in north-central Germany is using radio.cloud, which the broadcaster has already been using in its online streaming version. The AI is capable of providing the on-air voice, as well as scheduling the necessary breaks and other elements. The broadcaster's managing director told the RadioWorld.com that they are hoping to eventually market this programming. This is Andy Morrison, K9AWM.
In the world of DX, Sajid, VA3QY, is on the air as A22EW from Botswana from the 16th of September to the 8th of October. He'll be on 20 through 10 meters, possibly 6 meters, QSL via EQSL. Be listening for special call signs during the 2023 Rugby World Cup hosted by France. The games will continue through the 28th of October. The call signs are TM23RBY, TM23RUGB, and TM63RWC. See QRZ.com for individual calls for QSL details. Don M0CVZ is active holiday style as 6Y5DH from Jamaica, IOTA number NA097 through the 30th of September. He's using SSB on 40, 20, 17, 12, and 10 meters. See QRZ.com for QSL details. Our last story for this week is about family and the future of radio. For some amateurs who are old enough to know the joy of being grandparents, showing the grandkids another big joy, radio, makes for a natural combination, as we hear from Jim Meechan, ZL2BHF.
On Sunday the 1st of October, the magic hour will be 3 p.m. local time in New Zealand. The magic frequency will be 146.625 megahertz. And the magic combination for Peter Henderson, ZL1PX, will be the company of his grandsons, Alex and Dan, sitting with him in his radio shack. October 1st is Grandparents' Day in New Zealand. So earlier this year, Peter, who was the vice president of the Franklin Amateur Radio Club, thought that Hams and ZL might make good use of that special occasion to pass on the joys of amateur radio to the very youngest generation. Amateurs throughout New Zealand will be getting on their local 2-meter repeaters to kick off the first grandparents-grandkids net in each region. Peter will be using the call sign ZL1SA on his local repeater in the Auckland region. After everyone has checked in, the young and the young at heart will take turns sharing their best grandparent joke, best grandchild joke, stories about their grandmum or granddad, and so on. Peter suggests starting the day by inviting the grandkids over for Sunday dinner first. Once the meal is done, it'll be time for the net. Ah, but what if you don't have a grandchild? No problem. Peter suggests that you borrow one. This is a chance to create a memory, and as Peter says, who knows, maybe even create the next generation of amateurs who one day will be grandparents, sharing amateur radio with grandkids of their own. This is Jim Meechan, ZL2BHF.
If you have a piece of amateur radio news you think Newsline would be interested in, send it on. We're not talking about advertising your club's upcoming Hamfest or field day participation, but something out of the ordinary. If so, send us a brief overview via the contact page at arnewsline.org. If it's newsworthy and we'd like to cover it, we'll get back to you for more details. Meanwhile, visit our website to learn more about Amateur Radio Newsline Haiku Challenge. Use the entry form on our website and follow the rules for writing your 3-line haiku. With thanks to Amateur Radio Daily, I'm Barishnag Bishwash, VU2JFA, ARRL, the BBC, CQ Magazine, Dayton Daily News, David BR, K7DB, 425BX News, Hamtest Online, Indo-Asian News Service, New Zealand Amateur Radio Transmitters, Peter Henderson, ZL1PX, Radio World, Royal Belgian Amateur Radio Union, shortwaveradio.de, Wireless Institute of Australia, and you, our listeners, that's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline. We remind our listeners that Amateur Radio Newsline is an all-volunteer non-profit organization that incurs expenses for its continued operation. If you wish to support us, please visit our website at arnewsline.org. And no, we appreciate you all. We also remind our listeners that if you like our newscast, leave us a 5-star rating wherever you subscribe to us. For now, with Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York, and our news team worldwide, I'm Jim Damron, NATMW in Charleston, West Virginia, saying 73. And as always, we thank you for listening. Amateur Radio Newsline is copyright 2023, all rights reserved.
And this completes this evening's transmission of Amateur Radio Newsline. This is W8VPV, the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club. Net will start in approximately 8 minutes.
W8VPV. Repeater.
Good evening. Calling all amateur radio operators. Welcome to the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club Monday night VHF UHF net. My name is Thomas and my call sign is Kilo Echo 8 Oscar Whiskey X-Ray. However, for the purpose of this net, I'll be using the club call Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor. This is an open and directed net. All amateur radio operators are invited and encouraged to check in. You do not have to be a club member. All traffic shall go through net control, and since emergency traffic may break in at any time, please leave a brief pause between transmissions. The purpose of this net is to bring together all amateur radio operators for the exchanging of amateur-related ideas and information to enhance net operating practices, and during times of social isolation, to keep members up to date about club happenings. This net meets here every Monday evening at 8:30 p.m., preceded by Amateur Radio Newsline at 8:01. We will start with announcements and then ask for check-ins from any officer or member who has an announcement of general interest to the club. Once that's complete, I'll take check-ins, call signs only, 5 at a time, confirming the call before we move to the next one. Then we'll work through 5 check-ins and ask for 5 more until we're done. If you're a regular participant, I'll probably recognize you by call sign. If not, please give your call repeated phonetically, followed by your name and your location. When we've worked all check-ins, I'll close the net after repeating the announcements. Well, we also operate an HF plus 6 meter band exploration net starting at 9:30 after this net. The approximate frequencies are posted on our webpage, and tonight, the 3rd Monday of the month, we will be on 40 meters, approximately Mark 187 megahertz, lower sideband. We may be higher, it depends. 40 meters has been pretty busy today, and last week we had to go all the way up to 7 Mark 208, so I'll announce the final frequency pick there much closer to that net. I do know, 2 quick announcements. Get your logs for CFARC to the field in. That was last Wednesday. That was a switch between the business meeting and our activity meeting, so we had some more daylight. So get those logs in. And secondly, since we did switch those meetings, next week is our business meeting, not our activity meeting. So hope to see you all there. This is Whiskey 8, Victor, Papa Victor. We're looking for check-ins from any officers or hams with traffic of general interest for the net. Please call now.
Alpha Charlie 8, X-Ray Oscar.
Go ahead, Vince, AC8XL.
Well, in the newsletter, there is a big announcement that I'm leaving the country. So get your news articles in on the 30th. No exceptions. That means Anthony and Frank and anybody else that likes to go and put their stuff in at the last minute. Don't do it, because on the 30th, that's the deadline. Other than that, nothing. So, this is AC8XO, back to net.
Well, Vince, good luck on your trip there, and you've all been forewarned. Due by the 30th, all news articles, it simply won't make it into this month's newsletter, so get your newsletter articles to Vince as soon as you can. The 30th is a hard deadline. All right, do we have any other officers or announcements of general interest to the club? Please call now.
WO3X.
WO3X, go ahead.
Yes, regarding getting your logs in, if you, the preferred method would be to send them by email, and where they go by email is to either me or Jim, WA3JAT. So my email address is wo3x@hotmail.com, and Jim's is wa3jat@aol.com. Now, in order to email them, you have to use a form that you can fill out online. So if you go to the CFARC to the field presentation, page 15 has a Google Doc or a printable PDF. Well, if you use the Google Doc, you can fill that in and then email that to one of us. And so in order to have all the data compiled for the Wednesday, September 27th meeting, please get them to us no later than the 26th, the evening of the 26th. And if you can't do a digital one, then you can bring it to my house. I'll have a box set up under the mailbox in the newspaper slot there, a lock and lock box that you can just fold your paper in half and put it in there, and then I can put it all in. Now, there aren't that many participants that we have to add.
Repeater, timeout. Time, repeater, out.
Okay, I'm not sure we're timed out, but you can bring it to my house. I'll have a box set up under the mailbox in the newspaper slot, and so you can fold your paper log in half and put it in that box there, and I can fill it all in for you on the digital one. Now, there weren't that many participants, so we have 4 or 5 of them in already. So we just need to get like Frank, W8EZT, and his sister, KE8WBG, and we need to get Leo, KE8ULA. And there was one who was doing it from home, and that was let's see. Oh yeah, that was KE8UKY. I was doing it from home, we need your logs there so that we can have the issuance of the prize. If you made 5 valid contacts, then you'll be entered into the drawing for the DX Engineering $50 gift certificate. So with that, back to the net. This is W03X. Let me know if you have any questions about that.
Thank you for that. I've got the emails here. We'll re-announce them. Just a reminder, everybody get their logs in by the 26th. To reiterate what he said, an email is preferred. I do believe Anthony sent out an email to membership. So if you did get that email, those details are in there as well. All right. Do we have any other announcements or officers that need to check in here real quick? Please call now. Was that K8PU? I could barely hear the end of that transmission there. Who was that?
K8BSA.
Okay, K8BSA. Go ahead.
All right, just a reminder, this weekend is the Manitowoc 100. Myself and Anthony are still looking for a few hands to help out with the merit badge. Contact me or Anthony, and we'll get hopefully some more hands. Thank you. K8BSA.
All right, we got that on the list. The Manitowoc 100 celebration. We're There is going to be a ham station for a ham badge, I believe. All right. Any other announcements? Please call now.
N8LGP.
Go ahead, LGP.
Thank you. This is Steve, N8LGP, and I am erecting a small antenna over here at my house. I have two sections of TV tower, 8-foot mast pipe, and a 10-meter Ringo, small vertical. You know, anyway, I should need about 4 or 5 guys for some help. I know Anthony and John, WO3X, will be there. The time and day would be this oncoming Wednesday, roughly at 4:30. And more hands the better. It's more of a safety issue rather than a hard grunt. It's on a tilt tower, so tilt base, so we just stand it up, and I stick the pin in it, and it's up. And my suggestion would be to wear gloves, bring gloves, because I use tie wraps instead of tape when I put my coax on the site on the legs of the tower. So there you go. Let me unkey this a second. There we go. My phone number, you can text me. My phone number is 330-858-7078. But I'd like to see about 4 more people to show up if they could, please. I really appreciate it. And back to net. Doing a good job, Thomas. Thank you. This is N8LGP.
Thank you, Steve. We'll put that on the list and re-announcement here at the end. All right. Are there any more announcements of general interest? Please call now. Hearing none, let's go on to regular check-ins. We're looking for 5 at a time. Give me a chance to recognize each as we go along. Please call now.
W8EZT. N8LGP.
8HMS.
And K8BFX.
All right, I got W8EZT, N8LGP, K8HMS, K8BSA. Do we have one more in there?
AB8OU.
All right, got you, Zeke. All right, let's go up to Frank, W8EZT from Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor.
Well, good evening, everybody. Hope you're having a good week. Thomas, this may be a short net tonight. I just stumbled across the football game that I'm sure a lot of people are going to be stuck on. Steve, if you're still monitoring, I will try to get over there. Unfortunately, Wednesday is also the new time, and we should probably keep getting this word out for a little while. Wednesday at 6 p.m. is now the new time for Summit County areas to meet. That's the 3rd Wednesday of the month. So we meet on the 2nd and the 4th, and they meet on the 3rd. This month's meeting, which is this Wednesday, they'll be going over marathon assignments, handing out shirts, IDs, whatever. So anybody involved in that will need to be there probably by 6 o'clock. Steve, I'll try to get there by 4 and do whatever I can to help. That's really all I've got. We'll hand it back to Net, W8EZT.
Sounds good, Frank. Good to hear you, and we'll talk to you hopefully on 40. Yeah, I'm aware of the game. My wife is on the other room screaming at the TV at the moment, so I guess it's not going so well for the Browns. But all right, N8LGP, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Thomas. Yeah, Frank, I heard what you said, and this is not something that's long and drawn out. The thing's already ready to stand up. The coax is already affixed to the tower. It's just stand it up, stick the pin in, and it's done. It's just trying to get everybody there at one time. And like when we stood up towers at field day, except this is half the size of the field day towers and a small antenna instead of a big tri-bander. This should go up really quick, and it'll just be done. That's it. That's really nothing hard on it. So appreciate it very much. So there's 3. And see if we get 3 or 4 more. Just hopefully some backup, whatever. But more hands make the job get lighter. So thanks a lot anyway. I'll say 73 to everybody on the net. So I'm going to go watch the ball game. Thomas, thank you very much for doing this tonight. This is N8LGP, turning it back to net.
Thanks for stopping by, Steve. Good to hear you. K8HMS, you're up.
Okay, yeah, another Steve here on the 440 side. Yeah, make it quick. Good evening to you. Good evening to everybody. Thanks for running the net. And yeah, I just wonder what Steve's putting up over there. I know he was working on tearing everything down that he had, or his tower and his beam, but just kind of curious what he's putting back up. Other than that, that's about it. I'm heading back to the ball game. K8HMS.
Thanks for stopping by, Steve. Good to hear from you. Coming in good on the 440 side. K8BSA, go ahead.
All right, trying to get out there and help LGP Wednesday. It's kind of busy. That's when we can get into Camp Manitowoc and stow equipment for Saturday and Friday night. Like I said, if anyone is interested in helping, please contact me or Anthony. It's just we're basically, real quick, is talking about radio merit badge, getting people interested in it. And then the Falls has a tech class on the 8th of October, if I remember. All right, back to you, K8BSA.
Thanks for stopping by, Keith. Good to hear from you. All right, AB8OU, you're up. AB8OU, Zeke, you still there? From Whiskey 8, Victor Papa Victor.
AB8OU, sorry, my mind wandered there. Not much here. I operated in some of the state QSO parties over the weekend. I think there was 5 of them. I think I spent as much time switching between logs as I did making contacts. Anyway, everyone have a good week, AB8OU.
Thanks for stopping by. This is Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor. We're at the bottom of those 5. We're looking for 5 additional check-ins. Please call now.
WO3X.
I got WO3X. There was somebody underneath of him. Who was that? Well, no response. Could have been from the Toledo machine. Hearing them come down occasionally. All right, we got looking for 4 more. Please call now.
K8 KVI, in and out.
That's you, KVI. 3 more, please.
K8HJB, in and out.
Thanks for stopping by. 2 more? Well, we'll go with what we got. WO3X, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, good evening. This is WO3X. Steve K8HMS could come on over and see what Steve's up to, N8LGP. So, it's just 2 sections tower with a mast and then a 10-meter ringo on it, on the mast. That's it. Let's see. I have for sale a Cushcraft X7 antenna. It's like a beam antenna. It's a 3-band, 10, 15, and 20 meter antenna, but it only one of the elements has traps in it, and so it's similar to a log periodic. So I have that for sale. If anybody's interested, send me an email message at wo3x@hotmail.com. So back to the net, this is wo3x.
All right, thanks for stopping by. Everybody else was in and out, so that brings us to the bottom of the list. I realize it's probably going to be a short list tonight with the Browns-Steelers game on, but let's see if there's anybody else out there. Please call now. Was that you, Bill, KA8WTK? All right, I was able to pull you out of that. You're pretty scratchy there, but go ahead.
There, that better?
Significantly.
Okay, I won't tell you what was wrong, but nonetheless, WAVPV, KA8WTK. Yeah, the Browns and Steelers are playing tonight. Go Browns. I don't know if I'll watch the game or not. I usually don't watch them. I seem to jinx them, so we'll just leave it go. Not much going on here. Did some more work on the Kenwood I've been working on. So we're going to have it on the net tonight and see how the audio is sounding now. And I think we just about got her done. It might make an interesting program. It's had a lot of things changed in it. Anyway, back to net, W8VPV, KA8WTK.
Well, thanks for stopping by. I'm guessing you were on ultra low power there. All right, this is Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor looking for any additional check-ins. Please call now.
November 8 Alpha Charlie Papa, N8 ACP Chris in Akron.
Well, good afternoon, Chris. Go ahead with your comments. Thanks for stopping by.
Good evening there, Thomas, and all on the net. Thanks for running it. Just pretty tired here this evening. Another day of packing and moving stuff. I'm only going about 4 minutes down the road, but it's definitely a challenge to. You don't know how much stuff you've accumulated in 20-some years until you have to pack it up. And we're also giving away and throwing away some stuff too. So, anyways, that's what's new here, Thomas. Back to you, W8VPV from November 8 Alpha Charlie Papa 73. Good to hear you.
Thanks for stopping by. And big or small move, a move is a move, and it's it's not necessarily easy. So good luck there, and thanks for taking the time to stop in with us. This is Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor looking for any additional check-ins. Please call now.
WB8CXO.
Go ahead, Mike.
Hello, Thomas and everybody on net. SOS, nothing new. Attended the Adrian Hamfest up in Michigan yesterday. Thoroughly enjoyed it and made it safely home, which is always good. Other than that, just thrashing around in the shack, trying to decide what to focus on next and trying to find the stuff that I might have to do that. It's a wonderful experience. 7-3 to all. Have a great week. WB8CXO.
Thanks for stopping by. Good to hear from you there, Mike. This is Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor looking for any additional check-ins. Please call now. Hearing none, we'll take a chance to go through the announcements. All right. First one, the hard deadline for any Newsline articles is the 30th. Get those over to Vince. Otherwise, it just won't get in this month's Newsline or news article. So, the logs for Seaflock to the Field ideally should be emailed. But if not, you can drop them off at John's house, WO3X. But the two emails, you can email them to WO3X@hotmail.com or WA3JAT@AOL.com. And those should be turned in by the 26th to be counted as participation. This coming weekend is the Camp Manitowoc 100th celebration, where there will be a ham station, and he could use a couple more volunteers. So if you're able to help with that, let KA8BSA know about that. Steve, N8LGP, is erecting an antenna this Wednesday at 4:30. If you are able to help with that, it's mostly for safety there, to have a couple more eyes and a couple more people hold safety lines. Text him at 330-858-7078 and help him with that. And then, of course, next Wednesday is our business meeting for the month. It was switched with last Wednesday's activity meeting, which was Seaflock to the Field. That was done for additional daylight. All right, this has been Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor. Last call for check-ins. Please call now. Hearing nothing else, I think everybody else is watching the game, so we're going to close the net. And I'd like to thank all of you for taking time to join us and check in. Without your participation, there would be no net. This has been KE8OWX. It's been my pleasure to host this evening's net, and at this time, I'm going to close the net with 15 check-ins and return the repeater to normal and customary amateur use. This is Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor, closing the net at 8:58 p.m. local time. We will announce the 40-meter frequency about 5 minutes before 9:30 there, so we can make sure we're on an open frequency. 73.
Port. Link off.
In the morning.
Alrighty. KE8OWX with a radio check, verifying this frequency is open. KE8OWX.
This is VE2HKW.
VE2HKW. Good afternoon from the Great White North up there.
Yeah, it's just about evening. I heard you come on. I've been actually looking for a free frequency as well, but you beat me to the punch. So, but anyway, what's your call sign again? I just half caught it.
It is Kilo Echo 8, Oscar Whiskey X-ray, and we'll be having a net here shortly, starting at 9:30. If you want to stick around, I can throw you there on the log. If not, I don't expect it to be too long because the Steelers and Browns game is on, and I'm sure everybody's going to go watch that instead.
Fair enough, but I figured I'd just give you a little hi, hello, and let you know that thus far the frequency is not in use. So, anyway, have a good evening, and 73. This is VE2HKW.
Sounds good. You have a good evening too. Thanks for listening there. You're coming through really clear, I gotta say, to Ohio. Really clear. Good to hear you. 73. Yeah, we did, Mike. It's pretty busy. Did you Canada? Did you see that Canadian station in there? I don't know if the fans are open or he was running a lot of power, but he sounded like he was sitting next to me. Yeah, Mike, he was over here. He's only running 100 watts on a wire, similar to what I'm on, so looks like we got some opening, and that's probably why it was hard to find a spot here.
Next mic, and yep, about 30 seconds, and we'll start the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club band exploration net. Good evening. Calling all amateur radio operators. Welcome to the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club Monday night band exploration net. My name is Thomas, and my call sign is Kilo Echo 8 Oscar Whiskey X-Ray. However, for the purpose of this net, I'll be using the club call Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor. This is an open and directed net, and all amateur radio operators are invited and encouraged to check in. You do not have to be a club member. All traffic shall go through net control, and since emergency traffic may break in at any time, please leave a brief pause between transmissions. The purpose of this net is to bring together all amateur radio operators for the exchanging of amateur-related ideas and information to enhance net operating practices, to check in on club members and those around us, especially during times of social isolation, and to keep all the members up to date about club habits. This net meets here every Monday evening, jumping around the HF bands at 9:30 p.m., preceded by our VHF UHF repeater net on 8:30 p.m. local time. I will very quickly go through the announcements and then ask if there are any other additional announcements beyond the ones that came up on the repeater. I don't expect that we will, but we'll leave it open for that. Then once those are complete, we'll go through check-ins, call signs only, 5 at a time. Give me a chance to confirm each call before moving on to the next. Then we'll work through those 5 check-ins and ask for 5 more until we're done. If you're a regular participant, I'll probably recognize you by call sign. If not, please give your call, repeat it phonetically, followed by your name and your location. When all check-ins have been worked, we'll close the net after repeating the announcement. This is Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor. We'll go through our announcements really quickly. This coming Wednesday, not this week's Wednesday, next week's Wednesday, the 27th, is going to be our business meeting. That was swapped with our activity meeting so we could do a field event with more daylight. So don't forget about the business meeting that's coming up. This Wednesday, the 20th, at 8LGP is erecting an antenna. Could use some additional hands. If you need his phone number, let me know. I can email it to you. But he's doing that this Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. Newsletter articles. We're getting to the end of the month. Those have a hard deadline this month of the 30th, as Vince is going out of town. So get those in by the 30th, please. And then for our activity that was last week, Sea Fark to the Field, please submit your logs via email at wo3x@hotmail.com or wa3jat@aol.com, and those should be in by the 26th at the latest. And finally, this weekend is the 100th celebration of Camp Manitowoc with the Boy Scouts, and they are going to have a station or two there, and they will be working on their ham radio badge, as well as we need a couple volunteers for that. So if you're able to volunteer, contact Keith, KA8BSA, and he'll get you plugged in as he's in charge of that station. I believe that is all of the announcements, so I will do one quick check. Do we have any other announcements for the betterment of the club or ham radio? Please call now. none, we will go to check-ins. I do have a WB8CXO is in there, and then we also have VE2HKW. Do we have any more check-ins? Please call now. Alpha Bravo 8 Oscar uniform. I got you, Vince, AC8XO. AB8OU. I got AB8OU. One more, we'll go for two more, please. Whiskey 8, Zulu Tango. I got you, Frank. All right. We'll go back up to the top of the list. Mike, WB8CXO, go ahead. Thanks for taking the time to stop by, Mike. Glad to hear you. Good to hear you on HF. Do we still have our Canadian friend, VE2HKW? Go ahead. He appears to have moved on. All right, AC8XO, go ahead. We'll come back. AB8OU, go ahead. AB8OU, still nothing to add since the earlier net. Hope everyone's having a good week, and see you at the next meeting. AB8OU. Thanks for stopping by. Go ahead, Frank. W8EZT from Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor.
Good evening. W8EZT here. I don't know why, but I'm pulling high SWR again. Squirrels might have been at work, but anyway, don't have anything to add other than Wednesday again at the area meeting for the race a week from now, so check it out. And I think this weekend is the Cleveland Ham Fest, maybe Sunday. That's what I'm going to be at. That's all I got then. That's W8EZT.
Well, thanks for stopping by there, Frank. It did sound like your power was cutting for a second there every once in a while, so hopefully you can get that squared away here shortly. But was able to copy you pretty well, as expected for a quarter mile away. But good to hear you, Frank, and we'll see you next week. Let's try AC8XO. Let's see if we can hear you again. From Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor. He may have faded away there. The band seemed to be changing on us yet again. All right, this is Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor looking for any additional check-ins. Please call now.
Alpha 8, Whiskey
November
Tango.
8, Alpha Charlie Papa, 10-8 ACC, Chris and Akron. I heard Chris. There may have been somebody else underneath him. Please call again.
KA8, WTK.
I got you, Bill. All right. Any more? Do we have any more check-ins? Please call now.
WO3X, Whiskey Oscar, 3 X-ray.
WO3X, got you. Do we have two more? Hang on, I'll pick it up there. We'll go with what we got. N8ACP, go ahead, Chris.
Thank you, Thomas. Good evening to you and all on the net. You're sounding good.
And Frank was a little late tonight for whatever reason, so John's loud as usual. Just still transmitting from the long wire here at the old QTH. I'm going to leave it up as long as I can before I take it over to the new house. So, anyways, 7-3 to all. Good to hear you on HF, Thomas. WEVPV 73 from November 8, Alpha Charlie Papa.
Good to hear you, Chris. Glad you still got your station up, even though it's coming down here shortly. Bill, K8WTK, go ahead.
WAVPV, it's K8WTK on that N1TS 930 I've been working on, and been pumping a little bit of different audio into it today, and hopefully it sounds a little better than it did last time it was on the air. And I just about got the little cut ironed out. So back to you, WAVPV, K8WTK.
Well, thanks for stopping by. Good to hear you. All right, we're down to WO3X. Go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, Thomas and all on the net. This is WO3X. Bill's audio still doesn't have any low frequencies there. So that's the story there. And Frank sounded okay here, of course, because it's only like a mile or a mile and a quarter straight line. And you covered the announcements well there, so I don't have to say anything about that. So, and your signal's very good too. So with that, I'll say 73 to you, Thomas, and all on the net. This is WO3X, and I'll be listening.
Thanks for stopping by, John. Good to hear you. This is Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor. We're looking for any additional check-ins. Please call now. I'm not hearing any. That must either mean that the Browns are doing good or doing bad right now, but I did hear yelling from the other room. So we're going to go through the announcements again real quick, and then we'll go for a final call here. So real quick, newsletter articles required to be in by the 30th, or they will not be in this month's newsletter. For CFAR to the field logs, please get those emailed over to WO3X@hotmail.com or WA3JAT@AOL.com by the 26th, so that we can have everybody confirmed and in the books there for all the activity that went on last week. This weekend is the Camp Manitowoc Boy Scout 100th celebration. There will be a ham station run by K8BSA. He does need a couple more volunteers. If you're able to help, get in contact with Keith and he'll get you in there. This Wednesday is at 4:30. Steve at 8LGP is erecting an antenna. I believe it's 2 sections of tower, 1 mast pole, and a 10-meter Ringo. So need a couple more hands just to make sure it all happens safely. Not that it's difficult, just for safety. And then finally, next Wednesday, next week, is going to be our business meeting for the month. It was switched with last week's activity meeting, so we had some more sun. All right, that's the bottom of the announcements list. This is Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor. We're going to do a last call for check-in. Please call now. Hearing none, we won't tie up the frequency any longer and let everybody get on to the Browns-Steelers game here. We'll prepare to close this net, and I'd like to thank everybody that took the time to join us to check in
Without your participation, we wouldn't have a net. This has been Kilo Echo 8 Oscar Whiskey X-Ray. It's been my pleasure to host this evening's net. At this time, I will close the net with 8 check-ins and return this frequency to normal and customary amateur use. This has been Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor, closing the net at 9:44 p.m. local time, 73.
Thomas, thanks for everything you do. Really appreciate it. W8EZT, all be clear.